First off, the first album we were speaking about, it was about bringing discomfort to the listeners, no?
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, this album's gonna bring discomfort to all metalheads also. Stomp 42 by Anthrax.
Yes.
All right.
What
The
is that?
only two people who like this album, so yes.
What is that album?
Wait, what's that
Anthrax,
album?
Storm, Anthrax,
Storm
Stomp.
442 by Anthrax. Very, very much a discomforting album for most metalheads. All right. The amount of discomfort it brings is amazing.
Anirudh is the real black metal among us.
Yes. The amount of polish that it has. Oh my God. Wow. But on a serious note, this album, I think, was this band trying to figure out where to go next. I think the one of the two albums where these guys performed as an official four-piece. Dan Spitz had left the band after Sound of White Noise, and I think being friends with Pantera at the time, who were really peaking, kind of shaped their sound into a mix of groove metal, bits of alternative, and there are like two tracks which have grunge sort of influence to it as well. That being Bear and Nothing, which
Nothing.
is also the lead single for this album. One of the lead songs, I think, from this album. Also features solos from Paul Crook and Dimebag Darrell, which I feel were like overall this album was pretty underrated because it was just dismissed as a groove clone. But if you think about it, there were no bands that really sounded like this. A lot of the bands were aping Pantera or they were aping that whole Exorder sort of sound during this time, but these guys were still kind of doing whatever they felt would keep it groovy, but also a little bit of their own old signature sound.
Pantera did Exodus as well. Like that's the
Yeah, I mean, of course, that is the whole debate, but I think even the Exorder guys kind of admitted it that because of Pantera's consistencies, they far surpassed Exorder back in the day. So that's there. But so one fun fact about this is this artwork was originally going to be the artwork for Bruce Dickinson's debut, Balls to Picasso, but
really.
apparently he broke and he couldn't afford it. So instead, he painted the album cover on the toilet walls, and then we have this. But overall, I think this is a good groove metal album which just gets a lot of unnecessary hate because it does not feature Joey Belladonna in it. And you'll find some very interesting songwriting in this as well. And
I
talk
think
about
The vocals are great, man. This
Yeah.
really, I like the
Yeah.
vocals.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I think
it's a
that
groove.
Because
groove
let's get
metal.
this out of the way. Joey Belladonna sucks. Let's get that out of the way.
As an Anthrax fan, I've always preferred John Bush and
100%.
Neil Turbin over
John
Belladonna.
Bush should have sang for Metallica back in the day. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. But I feel Ahmed Saint, Anthrax, John Bush years, and everything that the man has done is fucking perfection because he's
Ahmad
like
Saint
a
is
badass.
unacceptable. Ahmad Saint is
Ahmed Saint is
absolutely
badass. Yeah.
unacceptable for me. And but I feel these years were very much underrated because Anthrax. For all I know, everyone either loves Anthrax because of Belladonna or hates Anthrax because of Belladonna. Okay. And most of the people here probably wouldn't even have heard the John Bush albums really because this people usually just dismiss it as okay, this does not have Joey Belladonna, so it sucks. But quite honestly, some of the songs in here are better than what
Yeah.
songs like the Belladonna years have. And it's not played live anymore because Joey can't sing for shits and he can't cover John Bushka songs for real even now. Like they tried only and it sucked balls, boss.
Yeah.
That was there. But yeah, this is a no-brainer sort of rocker. You can just put it, crank it up, and you can just have a good time. At least in
I
my
think this is not even their final form with Anthrax because this is what set the ball rolling for what Anthrax became in the mid 2000s.
we've come for
And
you
in the
all.
mid,
Yeah,
because
we've come for you all. That was a killer.
yeah,
album.
because that is
20
exactly what I was going to say. Because it gets better with Sound of White Noise, and the pinnacle of Anthrax for me personally is "We've Come for You All." That
When
album
did
is
this Persistence of Time came out? Like which year?
90,
94.
90, 90,
No,
1990.
90. Sorry, 90, 90, 90. Sorry. That was the last album with
Last with Belladonna.
with Belladonna on it.
In fact,
And
I feel that album
yeah.
should have actually featured John Bush.
Yeah, but one thing, Anirudh, I feel this album, it's very top heavy because the
Mhm.
highlights of the album are like the first three tracks.
First five
You have
tracks.
random sex, acts of senseless violence. You have Fueled, and you have King Size.
Even riding shotgun for that matter.
Yeah, riding shotgun. Yeah, because those are the tracks that have Dimebag on it. So
No, I think two tracks, right? Dimebag is on King Size and Riding Shotgun. Rest of it's either Paul Crook or Charlie Benante doing the leads.
Correct. And this was also the first album where Scott Ian, in fact, wrote the music also instead of the lyrics. So which shows, because he brings in that very street level.
It has a very blue collar feel to it, honestly.
Yeah, very blue collar feel. Exactly, very
much. It's a very working man's metal sort of feel to it. You know, the lyrics are not very much. It's not whiny also, but it's just where you can relate to it on a certain level. Because one step below this would be new metal in terms of lyrical winery. Okay, but it's just perfect, and it just maintains that level throughout. So
unfortunately, this album also has one of Anthrax's worst songs. That is American Pompeii.
Oh yeah,
that song fucking sucks, dude. Regardless of how you put it,
wait
that song is ass.
Wait till you hear "Toast to the Extras." I think that's worse. But it
For
has
this, I definitely need to check Anthrax. The way you guys are going on about it.
But
there are certain albums of Anthrax which you should definitely check out.
Fistful of Steel.
I did.
Anthrax is for me is Fistful of Metal and Persistence of Time.
Fistful of Metal, yeah.
I only heard that one album.
Yeah, apart from
I
that,
did it when I was much more younger. But after that, I never touched it actually. I never got the interest only.
No, We've Come For You All is a solid ass thrash metal album. We've Come For You All is badass.
Honestly, it's not just thrash. It has a lot of groove and alternative also, but that is where they really kind of brought the modern Anthrax sound, which now they are kind of nailing with Joey also.
They are known as bringing hardcore and
rap, new metal,
kind of stuff.
All that foundation is there with Anthrax.
They started the genre, right? New metal was essentially started with Anthrax. They recorded the very first song.
They bought a lot of
Public Enemy and Anthrax had that song, right?
Bring the noise. Bring the noise.
Yeah. Bring the noise.
Yeah, but if you want to really check out Anthrax, I'd say Sound of White Noise is a great way to, kind of dive into if you've just listened to like Persistence of Time and Fistful of Metal, because that album is very dark. And I think I'd spoken about this album like 2 years ago also when we were doing albums from 1993. So that's a very good album to check out if you want to really explore the John Bush era of Anthrax as a starter and then go into the other albums. Although Volume 8 is a little bit of a downer overall.
Yeah, Volume 8. It doesn't have only a Crush on it.
Yeah, Crush.
Yeah. But Crush is a killer album starter, dude. That it's essentially like a fist to the face. It's like pedal to the metal, full on groove metal. It's pretty badass.
It's pretty good. I think this is the only time you will probably hear John Bush Anthrax being praised. Otherwise, everywhere else is Belladonna.
Unrelated to Anthrax, but I saw Joey Belladonna sing at Wacken for Dio Disciples, and my God, he was murdering every song that he sang.
That just sounds painful to hear second hand.
Absolutely, yeah. He wasn't on time and he wasn't in tune, and I mean, you should watch the videos. It's comedy.
Yeah, fuck that guy, dude.
Yeah, and it feels like he's been sucking for like so many years now.
Yeah, but he brings the cash to Anthrax.
So Lars Ulrich and Belladonna are the same people.
Whoa. Let's hold on.
You need one band with Lars. You need with Lars on drums, Kerry on guitars.
Let's not shit on Lars Ulrich, brother, please. I will die on that hill. That Metallica wouldn't be Metallica without Lars.
I'm with you.
Obviously,
Not shit on Lars. You can, but
a brilliant composer.
Not to this extent.
Hey, Faizan's also joined.
Among them, they're really good. Like, I really like even their era. Like, I mean, Belladonna's era as well. So, I mean, John Bush era, it felt like they combined thrash and alternative together. So that's what I felt. His era.
And that was before alternative really was a thing. I mean, this is 95. Alternative really started becoming a thing 96, 98 onwards. Before that, there was really no term called alternative,
Maybe Faith No More?
No, there was alternative. Like even my pick for now, that's going to be Smashing Pumpkins. That they were
but back then, I
Yeah.
mean, it was just starting to gain that sort of,
You're
even
talking about
recognition here
alternative
and there.
metal or alternative
rock.
like rock and roll or music as a whole?
Even Goo Goo Dolls has been around since the early 80s. So
But
Forget
they're not
about Goo Goo
alternative. They're
Dolls.
pop.
Absolutely, it
I
was
mean,
the
like
sound, alt rock.
No,
the sound alt rock, the alternative sound has been there since late 70s.
yeah, from the 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
it has
don't
been
think
there since 70s.
I don't think it really kind of came to the forefront, at least not to my.
Not
Bro,
no,
that
no,
pure,
that
that
it didn't
pure
come to the forefront
boss.
commercially. It didn't come
Yeah,
to the
that's
forefront
exactly what I
commercially.
mean. Commercially, yes.
No, the Cure was a big commercial band, and there are a lot of other bands. If you talk about
Cure,
Bohas,
hold
the
on.
Cure.
Cure, yeah, these were all goth bands, dude.
Yeah, I
They
mean that alternative culture
alternative
slowly.
cultures, yeah.
Yeah, it is
Culture
like
अलग हो
from
गया.
there only it
Sound
Culture,
all
थोड़ा
started.
becomes a little different from the overall culture part of it. Like what
culture अलग है ना.
Abhi was saying in terms of the commercial sort of relevance, वो just उस time पे आ रहा था.
See, you will have to understand this. I think in the early post Cobain, in a post Cobain world, like that's when you had stuff like Lollapalooza. That's where people like Nine Inch Nails hit it big, and that's the reason why in the 90s, a band which was more or less gone and done for, like The Cure, became huge with the inclusion of them in the soundtrack of The Crow. That is when Cure became like an American household name because of that gigantic push from MTV. Because you had that void to fill, right? And it's still taking them. I mean, rock essentially died in '94, but that void was created with the death of Cobain, and they kept trying to push bands to fill that void. And that is where all of these bands, especially like what Rakshit will speak about as well, when that is where the Smashing Pumpkins come in. That is where all your Goo Goo Dolls of the world and your fucking towards the late end of the 90s, your fucking Nickelbacks and all of those bands start to fit in, or at least they try to you know fill that void, but which was not there.
Yeah, that's where post grunge came in, no?
Yeah, that's where post grunge comes in.
Yeah, but I think that's about it for the most uncomfortable record of this discography, this conversation.